Hi everyone. Recently, I have been talking to a few students of mine, and I realized there is a confusion that exists in the minds of the students regarding Rule 24, which deals with towing and bushing, specifically the spacing of towing lights. So I thought I will make this short video and discuss the confusion and then clear it up for you once and for all, so that if you are going for orals preparation or you're going for orals examination, it should be very clear in your mind and your confusion should not exist. All right, so let's get started. So today's video, I'll be focusing on Rule 24, a very specific part of Rule 24. So you will see that I will not read out the entire rule or I will not explain the entire rule. I will explain only a very specific part of Rule 24, and I will ask you, or rather you should ask yourself whether the same confusion exists in your minds as well. All right, so let's get started with Rule 24. Rule 24 actually talks about the lights to be displayed by vessels engaged in towing or pushing operations. So the rule starts off like this, that Rule 24 Part A says that a power-driven vessel when towing shall exhibit, instead of the lights prescribed in Rule 23A1 or A2. So I will talk about Rule 23 in the next slide. So Rule 24 says that instead of the lights prescribed in Rule 23A Part 1 or A2, a vessel engaged in towing, a power-driven vessel when engaged in towing shall exhibit two masthead lights in a vertical line, and when the length of the tow measuring from the stern of the towing vessel to the after end of the tow exceeds 200 meters, three such lights in a vertical line. And then it goes on to say that it should also exhibit side lights, stern light, towing light, and a diamond shape and like that. So I'm not going to read out the entire rule. I'm just focusing on these few sentences here because this is where the confusion exists. Then Rule 24 Part C says a power-driven vessel when pushing ahead or towing alongside, except in case of a composite unit, shall exhibit, and it goes on to say the rule as well about two masthead lights and then side light, towing light and all that. All right, so you can read the rule on your own. That is not the point here. So this is what Rule 24A and C state. And then in Rule 24 Part D it says a power-driven vessel, to which paragraphs A and C of this rule, A and C of this rule is what I have written above, although it's not completely written, you can go and read it on your own. So any power-driven vessel to which paragraphs A and C of this rule apply shall also comply with Rule 23A Part 2. Now let me show you what Rule 23A Part 2 says, and then I will discuss what is the confusion. So you can see here it says that a power-driven vessel when towing shall exhibit two masthead lights in a vertical line, and if the length of the tow exceeds 200 meters, three such lights in a vertical line. And then it says it shall also exhibit Rule 23A Part 2. So what is Rule 23A Part 2? Now Rule 23A Part 1 says that of course power-driven vessel underway shall exhibit a masthead light forward and a second masthead light abaft of and higher than the forward one, except that a vessel of less than 50 meters in length shall not be obliged to exhibit such a light, but may do so. Alright, so this is Rule 23. Rule 23 deals with power-driven vessels underway. Now the confusion in the student minds is that if a power-driven vessel is towing, she is supposed to exhibit two masthead lights in a vertical line. If the length of the tow exceeds 200 meters, then three such lights in a vertical line. That is Rule 24. And then it says that it should also comply with Rule 23A Part 2, which is saying a second masthead light abaft of and higher than the forward one. Right? So my students have been asking me that doesn't that mean that if a power-driven vessel is more than 50 meters in length and it is engaged in towing operation, then she should ideally exhibit four white lights or four lights in a vertical line. But it is not the case, and I'll tell you why. Now see this here. This is the card that was confusing my students. And they said that why does it have three lights in a vertical line and then another light forward of the vessel? So if it is to engage in towing operation, it should have two white lights in a vertical line. And then if it is length of the tow is more than 200 meters, then three white lights in a vertical line, which is fine. Till this point, it's fine. So these three white lights in a vertical line show that the length that this vessel is engaged in towing operation. It also indicates that the length of the tow exceeds 200 meters or more. Now, if Rule 23A Part 2 applies to this vessel and this vessel is supposed to be more than 50 meters in length, then a second masthead light which should be abaft of and higher than the forward one should also be exhibited by this vessel. But why is it exhibiting one light in the forward part of the vessel? It should exhibit 4 white lights in a vertical line, ideally. And that was the confusion. So this is the part that you should be asking yourself, is it confusing you as well? If it is, then here is the answer. So remember that, of course, I get the confusion. The wording of the rule is such that it can create that kind of a confusion. But what the rule, and you have to be very clear about it, and that's why I've written it down. So what you can see here, that if you are required to exhibit 3 lights in a vertical line to indicate that the vessel is towing, as well as the length of the tow exceeds 200 meters, that's fine. And then if you have to display one more light, masthead light, which is 50 meter and should be horizontally separated and higher than the forward masthead light, or rather it should be higher than one of the masthead lights, then one of the two or 3 masthead lights prescribed for the power-driven vessel, when engaged in either towing or pushing, it shall be placed in the same position as either the forward masthead light or the aft masthead light. So if some vessel is approaching your vessel from any angle, they can see that there are lights in a vertical line that will engage, that will indicate that they are towing, and the length of the tow is more than 200 meters. But the 2 masthead lights are horizontally separated, and horizontally separation, and the lowest after masthead light shall be at least 4.5 meters separated vertically higher than the forward masthead light. Alright, so the horizontal separation indicates that the vessel is more than 50 meters in length. Otherwise, if there is no horizontal separation, then the other vessels which is watching the towing vessel will not come to know that there is a horizontal separation indicating the length of the vessel. And they are also vertically separated by 4.5 meters to indicate that there are 2 masthead lights indicating that it's more than 50 meters in length. So one vessel approaching from right ahead will be able to see that horizontal separation, but at the same time they will also be able to count the 4 lights in a vertical line. Any vessel approaching that any other angle other than the right ahead angle, or if they are not approaching right on a reciprocal course, they are approaching a towing vessel from any other angle, will also be able to see that horizontal separation, so that they know that in the dark, especially at night, they can see that it indicates the length of the vessel. That means the vessel has a length of more than 50 meters, and at the same time it will also tell them that this vessel is engaged in towing operation where the length of the tow exceeds 200 meters. So they will alter the course accordingly to keep a safe distance from the towing vessel as well as the vessel being towed. So that is the whole idea behind it. So although the wording of the rule 23 and rule 24 kind of creates that confusion where you might think that, oh, that means I have to display 4 white lights in a vertical line, that is not the case. In this case, if you have a towing vessel which is more than 50 meters in length, and also it is the length of the tow is more than 200 meters, you can display the 3 lights, but one of those 3 lights or one of those 2 lights can be placed in the same position as the forward masthead light or the after masthead light, provided that if carried on the aft mast, the lowest after masthead light shall be at least 4.5 meters separated vertically higher than the forward masthead light. So I hope this confusion is clear now. If you still have any confusion regarding this rule, please let me know. I'll try my best to answer it. But this is a confusion I found to be very common among students, and it should not be so. Alright, so it's not 4 white lights in a vertical line. No, it's not that. Remember that it also has to be horizontally separated to indicate the length. Alright, so vertical separation, of course, and horizontal separation as well. That's how the angle of the light should be created. Alright, so I'll start the video here. Please watch this video before you go for an oral examination, specifically when you're practicing the ROR cards, and the concept should be very clear, because the surveyor can actually confuse you, and that can lead to a fail in the orals. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Bye, and I appreciate the support to the channel. Keep watching and keep supporting the channel. Bye for now.